This is what a day in the life looks like, building an off-grid, homesteading, archaeo-futurist Christian community. We're like super early stage, so this is kind of what early stages looks like. Just hit a workout with all the guys and just went and showered, and now we're starting the actual work day. What do you think of our new office? I'm doing a day in the life vlog, building an off-grid homesteading archaeo-futurist Christian community. Can you see me in the camera? Usually when I get started on my workday at my desk, I will start off by reading my Bible. I'm reading Romans 1 through 8. I have a tract in my notebook here, which is also what I use to manage most of my personal tasks. Reading that I'm doing for studying purposes. Some C.S. Lewis that I'm reading on my iPad right now, Fear and Trembling by Soren Kierkegaard, that I've been reading recently. As I'm recording this, we actually don't have a YouTube channel up. Obviously that's changed. I've been working on our trailer. Kind of just gives a feel for what Jesus Village is about, what is it that we're trying to accomplish. I'd highly recommend watching it. The message of why we are doing Jesus Village and itself addresses a lot of huge problems that just exist in the world in general. It's something worth watching.
A typical day for us definitely has this balance. This is the whole idea of archaeofuturism in practice, where we spend time working on tech, where we spend time working on our various programs or AI content creation, but also it's the physical work too, right? The kinetic aspect. If I was to summarize to someone who maybe not understand the concepts, I would say, look at what we're doing, right? Our day split up between the technological as well as the hands-on, and that really is the epitome of what archaeofuturism is in practice. Principles for archaeofuturism, I guess if I was to break them down, the idea was developed by this guy named Fay, and he was a far-right thinker from France. What he was seeing was a divide in right-wing thought between people that wanted to kind of go back to the land, kind of like the primitive, traditionalism, and then others who say, no, we need to use technology and industry to kind of move and advance the movement. And I would say that his idea of integrating the two was brilliant, and really it's just kind of common sense, I would argue, for the average Christian. For us in particular, I would say it's recognizing that some of this technology that's being developed right now, whether it's with drones or AI, it's not going to go away anytime soon. The internet is a perfect example of this. We couldn't have even started the project without the internet. So the principle of archaeofuturism, it comes from the word archos. As an example, in John 1, when it talks about Christ, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning is in arcane, right? Arcane, so in the past, right? So archaeofuturism. Now, futurism obviously means future. So the word itself is almost oxymoronic, but the idea of it is that, yes, there are technologies that are being used right now, and it is absolutely imperative for Christians to make use of those technologies to advance the kingdom, at the very least to protect our own. C.S. Lewis, famously said that sometimes the best way forward is to go backward. When it comes to certain values, when it comes to certain ways that we live, returning to principles of the past is the best way to advance the faith. This could be, obviously lifestyle choices seem archaic. If you want your wife to stay home and have kids, that already is viewed as archaic. But now if you wanted to grow your own food, you're going to do gardening, you're going to do canning, You're going to go back to using techniques and tools that haven't been used in a long time. All tools have to be viewed through a convivial lens. That idea comes from Ivan Illich, and that idea is anything that we use has to be used to foster greater independence for the individual, but also greater resilience for the community overall. If any technology threatens that, it should be discarded or modified so that it can be compatible with those ends. As an example, this is a convivial tool, right? This is a mobile chicken coop. So the idea with a mobile chicken coop is that we can move it along, we can simultaneously fertile the soil. These are permaculture principles as well. We can raise our animals, and the thing is everybody can be involved in it, right? We've made it so that it's easy for the kids to operate. So the children can come out, they can move animals, they can take care of them, they can feed and water them. That fosters community, so that's a convivial tool. And it's obviously it's primitive, right? It's wood, it's cattle panels. The whole idea is that we are seeking to create sustainable, healthy food for people in community. And this is part of the archaeo aspect. This is how you apply it. Also with our technology that we have, we get our messaging out. We're using, with video editing, with AI, to create content to reach the people that we need so that we can get them planted in community so they can do things like this, right? So that is how you apply archaeofuturism as a Christian in this context. So these ideas aren't really contradictory. In fact, they might be necessary to be complements. You might actually have to have both to make them work. It's very important that you be able to repair your own tools or your own devices. The more you can repair, the better. You have these right to repair lawsuits because people can't repair their own vehicles. We have electronic unicycles, we have e-bike, where we're going to be getting electric vehicles. We have tons of technology here. We would have to constantly put out money to buy new, right? So an easy step people can make is learning to repair things. Just doing the first step, which is repairing our own electronics. I have electric unicycles here that I'm actually planning on repairing here soon. This is the iFixit, and this is perfect. Repair is noble. That is a very archaeofuturist convivial value. So you're going to increasingly see issues with competency in the workforce. You're going to see issues with things breaking, not being able to get things replaced, just general bureaucracy and BS. And in that environment, we're going to transition to a repair economy. So if you want to have something work that's broken, you're going to have to fix it. So any community that repairs electronics, repairs their own tools, is going to have a major advantage in the world of the future. People ask why we've had to embrace the archaeofuturism and why Christians should do it. These are two different questions, but they're kind of related. My instinct had been for a long time going the way of the Amish exclusively, becoming more primitive, getting away from technology, but then you run into the problems that the Amish themselves have run into, which is you get very legalistic with rules. You just go to horse and buggy. What about social security numbers? Okay, can your kid go get a job? Can you ever use a phone? How do you get a hold of people? A lot of issues within the Amish community, and it ends up becoming very Pharisaic. We knew that that was a major pitfall. And likewise, people willing to go to that extent are very few and far between, so it's hard to build community organically. So a lot of these people that are hardcore primitivists, they're just isolated out in the woods, living in a cabin. For Christians who are in the idea of futurism and technology, they have their own conundrums. If everything is automated, the dishwashing machine does the dishes, the automatic Roomba thing cleans the house. At some point, it's like, okay, what's the point of having traditional family values then? If you and the wife can just do a little bit of code every day and everything is taken care of for you, what purpose is there in your work and labor anymore? What's the purpose of complementarity in gender, right? Where's the patriarchy at? We've automated our rules away to the point where they don't exist. Why not have machines raise the kids? Maybe they could do better once they're plugged into AI. They could teach better lessons. They could teach better geography. Why not? Well, that's the problem. Both of these extremes have major pitfalls, and really the blending of the two solves those problems because we can then rationally assess and biblically, based on our morality, what technologies actually hinder the Christian lifestyle and Christian community, what technologies threaten that, and also we can assess, okay, what ones do we need in order to grow the community, advance the community, defend the community. The big why is survival, right? The big why is the survival of Christian community. It's the survival of Christendom, the advancement of Christendom. If we're not using some of these technologies, those who would attack us are going to. We're not going to bring a knife to a gunfight. We're going to bring a gun to a gunfight. We have to be able to be equipped with it and be able to use it to protect our own interests. But likewise, we also have to protect our long-term interests, the traditional Christian lifestyle, and that requires some degree of sacrifice of material goods, of technologies that would hinder us from fulfilling our biblical rules in marriage, family, and in the community. It's good for the guys to be together and do farm work together. It's good for women to do work together, doing things that our ancestors did. We have to protect those things. So just as there are certain technologies we need to embrace, there are certain technologies we absolutely need to avoid and stay away from. Really, when it comes to this whole vision of archaeofuturism, it is kind of like the steampunk, cyberpunk vision of reality. We're fixing things, we're making use of scrap, we find scrap metal, we find old barrels, cut them, we make things out of them, we utilize what's here. Maybe it would be better if the world never created those things. Regardless, we have it, so why not use it? Why not make it work for us, for community? People need to learn more about this, and that's what we're going to be about. We're about teaching people how archaeofuturism is applied in their everyday life, so please look forward to that.